Hey everyone, welcome to the Maegical Stories of Healing and Spiritual Gifts podcast. I'm David Staub. I'm here with my wonderful wife, Megan.
Hi everyone.
And we are, again, so very excited to bring you someone that's very special to both myself and Megan. It's crazy how you come across some people and you just have a great connection, and we always have. Not only that, though, she's just has some pretty cool spiritual gifts, has an amazing story, and we just can't wait to chat with her. And her name is Zulma, and she's a spiritual counselor, master in Oriental Medicine, and nutritional specialist. Thank you for making time for us, Zulma.
Thank you so much for having me, David and Megan.
Yay! Well, and the other thing that we didn't mention also is that Zulma has helped me so much. So Megan pre-ayahuasca was a very, very sick Megan, and I have tried everything, and Zulma was a godsend for me. You know, David actually found her first at this pharmacy in Austin, People's Pharmacy, and man, my insomnia was just horrible. Nothing helped, and I tried everything from so many different doctors, even holistic ones, but every time she would recommend a supplement to my husband for me, it always helped. And I am just so excited to have you teach us, things that are good for us, because people don't know. And there are so many people. I have so many other friends that feel sick like me. And there's so many people that have been in our community that are struggling with things, whether it be what do I eat? Everything, it causes inflammation, to insomnia. And so I'm just super excited to have you.
Oh, thank you. And Megan, you were just so proactive and wonderful. It was a joy to be a servant.
Well, awesome. Well, we can't wait to get into it. You've had some really, really interesting and just profound experiences in your life. But before we get into all of that, tell us a little bit about your childhood. Did you grow up religious or spiritual? Did you have any spiritual gifts at a young age? Just tell us how you grew up.
Well, I was born in Puerto Rico.
Nice. Puerto Rico, love it.
And I was raised a Catholic. Mm-hmm. And it was very important for my parents that we lived across the street from the Catholic Church. So I came to New York in Brooklyn when I was about 4 or 5 years old. And basically, I would say that I was open at that time. I could kind of sense when things were going to happen. So that opening was there, yes.
Wow. So you had a little bit of an ability to kind of get a premonition before something happened, even at a young age.
Correct.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. That's amazing.
Just kind of sensing where people are. So for me, it's more like an intuitive knowing where a person is emotionally and spiritually at that level, and being able to communicate and tap into that person at the level that they're at and helping to bring that light in. Wow.
Now, that's beautiful. Now, before we get into the near-death experience, we do want to ask you some things before that time frame. Was there ever anything traumatic that occurred in your life up until the point before the near-death experience?
Yes. In my childhood, my father was an alcoholic, and so that was very painful. And so it's been a healing process. So I had a near-death experience when I was in the 4th grade. And then I had another transformative experience that was even more powerful than that. And that's the one that I really wanted to share with everyone, because it is about everyone's inheritance of joy, of peace, of the glory that we really are. And so it was painful when I was a child, but it was important for me to do good in school. So there was that dichotomy, kind of craziness in the house.
Oh, yeah.
But yet, you know what I mean? And yet,
yes, I can resonate with that.
Do everything good.
Yeah, that's so tough. And as a child, you don't know why. You just know it's happening, and we don't really realize how that affects us until later on in life.
Oh wow, my stepfather was an alcoholic, and it was scary. It was very scary, and so.
Yeah.
And I too, because of that though, I like wanted to always succeed in life, you know, and so I just resonate with all of that. Now, you are an amazing practitioner as far as like, you know, a healer. You are a really gifted healer. And I'm curious, did you always know that you wanted to get into like the health profession, you know, to be a healer, or is that something that awakened or was planted, you know, in your heart after that really profound near-death experience that you had that we will get to?
Well, yes, because, you know, we're beings of love, and so there is that sense of wanting to connect and wanting to help those that you feel were suffering around you, even those that might be a perpetrator or whatever role they were playing, or everyone else in the family or in the world. You just know about the vulnerability that really is within, and about the barriers that people put up in order to protect themselves and what they do. So, and part of the decisions that I made in order to go into this healing practice is that I wanted to help the underprivileged. Then I wanted to help the environment, so I kind of geared my studies towards those avenues.
Oh, I love that. I love it. You've always, I know when I met you and I told, it's crazy because, you know, I meet a lot of people, especially like running kind of a direct sales company. I meet a lot of people, but you had such an immediate impact. Your aura is incredible. Like it really is. Like I could just tell you had such a good heart.
He came home telling me about you.
I was like, you got to meet this lady. She's incredible. It's the craziest thing.
He's like, do you think she's an angel?
Right. I was like,
well, it takes one to know one. I would say you both have an incredible aura and are such go-getters. You are such an example. My goodness. Wow.
Oh, thank
you.
you. Well,
I mean it.
Thank you.
So I have a question for you. So this whole, you know, with Western medicine, I know, you know, through our story, we went through the ringer with Western medicine, and it just fail after fail, and like tens of thousands of dollars, and nothing really worked for us. When did you, because the next question I'm going to have is just a little bit about the Chinese medicine and the Oriental medicine we're so interested in, but when did you make the transition in your life? Because we're all conditioned all about Western medicine. That's how we're conditioned towards. But when did you make the transition from Western to Eastern and Oriental?
Well, this is interesting. When I was a child, I remember, I didn't know why, but I do believe that we've had other experiences in this world, even though we only have one life, but that's another story. Oh. But in one of my incarnations, I was Chinese, I was told. Anyway, as a kid, I would stand in front of the mirror and kind of press on myself and think, you know, if I press on these points, somehow it's going to help with my healing. I just remember that. Now, I grew up Catholic. I grew up in a Hispanic culture. So there wasn't anything that would let me know about that. But anyway, I went to school, and I thought I would study law. But then I thought, well, maybe I can do something to help people before they wound up in there. Aww. And then after I went to university, I was a little bit discouraged. It wasn't what I was thinking, and this is when I had this powerful experience. And then after this powerful experience, I just started to study biology science. And I've always felt that nature is a healer, which it is, and you can have anyone of any level of awareness, and they can connect to nature. So I studied ecology, and then so I did that, and that was nice. And then I got into Oriental medicine because I was doing exercises and things, but I didn't really know about nutrition or anything. I used to think frozen, healthy foods were good, and I used to eat more grains and carbs. And so one time when I was doing an exercise, I felt a little dizzy when I do one of those incline exercises where you kind of go up and down. So I went to this place. I hope I'm not talking too much, but
No, this is great.
Yeah.
To this little Chinese kind of little store. This was in Dallas, by the gym that I used to go to, the 24-Hour Fitness. And when I went in there, the lady that was there, they did like a free evaluation, and she looked at my tongue and she like freaked out. And I was like, oh my God, what's going on, you know? So I did research, and she said I had some stagnation. So then I did research on that, and I called the school in Dallas, and I said, can I talk to somebody to help me? And this very kind gentleman, who was one of the professors, he talked to me, and I went there, and he actually just talked to me and explained to me about things, and that's when I decided to get treatment, because that was so kind. And when I got the treatment, oh my God, I just felt so good. My circulation, everything, it made such a difference.
Oh my gosh,
that's how I started. Mm-hmm.
I mean, acupuncture was a godsend for me. I mean, it absolutely, if I had flare-ups and I had a lot of severe inflammation in my body, if I went to acupuncture, it worked. You know, I had gone, this is many, many years ago, I'd gone to a music festival where you camp. I can't even imagine doing that now, but, and I got back and I got really sick from there. And I don't know if it was a tick bite or what. I don't know. But I'm talking I had a fever that lasted more than 5 days and I could not break it. And it was horrible. And I'd gone to, a conventional doctor and nothing, worked. And my mom was like, why don't you go to your acupuncturist that you go to when you have flare-ups for your inflammation? I'm like, but that's for my inflammation. She was like, Megan, just go. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get there because I was so sick, and that was before Uber. But I managed to get myself there, and an hour after treatment, that fever was completely gone, and I'm just convinced that it can help so many things, and circulation as well. And so, and even the herbs, they would give me what they would call a herbal tea, which I don't know why they call it that, because that does not taste like a tea at all. It was the worst tasting. I would make me want to throw up. But man, I would literally drink that nasty stuff. He'd give me these weird things to put on the stove with water and drink. And girl, my inflammation was gone. I mean, so it all works. Speaking of herbs though, do you have any herbs that you recommend that everyone needs to know about, that you truly believe in, and what healing properties they have?
Well, right now I'm focusing more on the functional medicine than doing acupuncture and herbs. I'm not doing that now, but I can say that in Oriental medicine, everyone, you might have the same diagnosis, let's say, as David, but because of your constitution and what's going on with you, in the way that Chinese medicine does diagnosis, you would have a different remedy, a different herb.
Interesting.
So, and then the herbs are really, it's a gift that comes from China. Their medicine a lot of people around the world use Oriental medicine because it works. It works in an energetic level, and that's what attracted me to it, because before an illness manifests, Oriental medicine is geared to the physics of the symptoms to help to alleviate and to resolve whatever obstructions or, imbalances are occurring. So, the herbs are warm and some are cold and some are medium and some are, so it just, and they go to their target size, but there isn't one herb, in particular that I would say can help. So people take things like cordyceps or different herbs that are really Chinese herbs that help. So
Right.
it just depends.
No, it makes sense because everyone's body chemistry and energetic field is different. So, I mean, that does make sense.
But that's a good question.
So, and I know everyone's different, so diet's always a big topic out there, and, I know everyone's different, so different things can work from different people, but totally curious, you being in the healing field, a holistic nutritionist, what's your opinion on, or what are your beliefs around, like, which diet has the most healing benefits, or
what does your diet look like?
What is your diet? Just totally curious, your diet, yeah.
My diet. Well, I would have to say that because of today's world and because of the level of toxins that are in the air we breathe, creams that we might apply, foods that we eat, excuse me, that it's really important to eat organic as much as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the glyphosates and those other toxins and the adjuvants that they add to those toxins are really detrimental to health. They're DNA mutagens, they're endocrine disruptors, they cause cancer, they're neurotoxins, so that's going to be one of the most important things. And then I kind of work with people depending on where they're at. I would say vegetable based. So many times I tell people, see a plate, half of your plate in unlimited leafy greens or green vegetables. 1/4 of the plate is going to be maybe if you have some beans or some rice or brown rice or some more of the root type of vegetables if you can tolerate it.
Mm-hmm.
Some people maybe they can't, and then 1/4 would be the protein if you like fish, wild-caught salmon or grass-fed beef or antibiotic-free chicken, things like that, and having healthy fats. But again, it depends on where that person is. That I might vary that for them and see, do they have food sensitivity? So they sensitive to dairy? I say avoid soy. Are they sensitive to nuts?
Definitely.
Things like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I lived in New York,
basically half of your plate vegetables.
Yep.
What do you think about fruits, and what do you think about cooking oils?
You can use I coconut oil I use very rarely, but I recommend it. There's avocado oil. I would say no trans fat, no corn oils, or those kind of oils are not healthy at all.
Right.
So I do believe that fats are really important. Good fats.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And
what about fruit?
Fruit also. Fruit have a lot of antioxidants in there. They have a lot of vitamins. They're important. Again, it depends on a person. If somebody has a blood sugar dysregulation issue and they're pre-diabetic, then they're going to have to limit their fruit.
Right.
That doesn't mean you're going to deny it. You might go more with the berries, and that would be, blackberries, raspberries, things like that, and in moderation. But fruits, I think, are wonderful.
Great. Good.
Cool. And is that what your regimen, your diet is what you were mentioning before?
Yes. Basically, my diet is like that. Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Oh, so I wanted to ask you, because I know you're a huge lover of animals like myself, and I know that we've had conversations about animal communication and studying it. Is that something that you're still interested in studying?
Yes, definitely. And there I have to say, Megan, you're such a go-getter and such an inspiration, because I told you about, the woman from Australia was doing this marvelous work, and there's many people, and then you're out there and you're doing it, and I think that's just great, this communication that we can have with, I say, our brothers and sisters. They do such a service.
Yes, they're
amazing.
amazing.
Yeah, unconditional love and the wisdom that they have. So it's an amazing thing that you're pursuing, and if I could be there to learn with you, count me in.
Yes, yeah, gosh, animals are just incredible. Now, I've always had a crazy connection with animals, like always. I mean, I was always coming home with a cat or a kitten and, telling my family, oh, it just showed up, when I really got it from my best friend's house, because they had a litter. I mean, not all the time. But animals were very therapeutic, which they are, because I went through such horrific abuse, and they were so healing for me. And have you always had a strong connection with animals, or is it something that kind of opened up after your near-death experience that we're about to get to?
Oh no, I always loved animals when I was a child, always.
Oh, that's awesome.
We're still a child. We're still children.
That's right. Well said. All right. So we would love you to take us through your near-death experience that was so profound. What happened before? How did it start? Take us through everything.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are two experiences. And the near-death experience, I would say, was an introduction to the other profound experience that I had, where I felt the oneness with the Creator and the oneness with all of us in this universe. And so I was in the 4th grade, and and I had a pain on my side, and then wound up in the hospital. And when they were wheeling me in, I saw my body being wheeled. In other words, my spirit had lifted out, and I can just see my body, being wheeled into the emergency room. And what happened? Excuse me. This is my experience. My experience was that I felt the essence of who I was, a being of profound love. We are the activity of love. Love is what we are. And so that's what I felt, just this overflowing compassion. And so I thought, where is my family? And so in that realm, in this realm of the earth, there's friction. You think of something and, it kind of goes through phases. There's the momentum is slowed down by this friction before something manifests, when you have a thought. But when I was in that plane, whatever I thought, zoom, it was whoosh.
Wow.
I was there. I was at my family. I could see I was standing, hovering over the bed, and I could see my family there, my sister, my mother, etc. And, there they were, and I just loved them. And then I went kind of back, and then I went through this tunnel. I don't remember if the tunnel was first or what, but when I went through the tunnel, it was at warp speed. It was faster than fast, and then I wound up in this light. I was in this light. Now, in that near-death experience, I cannot remember my experience there. The only other thing I remember is that I was standing in this portal, this huge portal, and this being of light was standing next to me, and where his face was so glowing in this beautiful blue light, laser blue, calm blue light. And I knew I had to come back, and I wanted to stay. But I knew at that time that I had work to do, that I had to come back and do some things, that I couldn't stay behind. And I felt really sad about that. And then the next thing I was back in the hospital.
Wow.
So, and the other experience was I had gone to university, and then I thought, I don't think I want to be an attorney. And I was standing in front of this tree. This was in Jersey City. And this was, I felt like I was, this essence of me was incredible. It was like uplifted, and I was one with this tree. That's why I love trees. And but I felt a sensation of like waking up. I literally, when I kind of came to the essence of my beingness, the truth of being, I felt literally like in the human terms, like I was waking up. And then I just felt this majesty and this glory. It was euphoric. It was orgasmic. And then I felt a oneness with this tree. I was one with the tree. Yet I had my own experience of myself as one with the tree. So I feel that in a way that's how we're all connected. So anything, then the other thing is all of a sudden I was like in the universe. Well, total universe.
Wow.
And in the presence of God, and I read a lot of different literature and things like that, spiritual literature, things that can help me understand and bring me back to that experience that I lived and moved and had my being in the Creator. And that's exactly how I felt. I was totally free, and there was no past that you're going to feel guilty and rotten about. There was no future to dread. It was an eternity that I was gone. I felt it was an eternity that I was gone, and yet it was fresh and new at the moment. It was just fresh and new and alive, with glory and experience, and then I felt that I was just being. This happened when I was, and I don't believe in time because it doesn't exist. That there was no time. It's like I knew things when I was
Wow.
Identified with the truth of who we are. This is not something that is just me, and that's why I feel grateful for the opportunity to say this is who we are. We are this being of tremendous knowledge and wisdom, realization. We just know because the Creator gives all to all. I experienced that truth. Then I had an experience where everyone was there. You were there.
Wow.
Everyone was there, but not as a physicality, because the experience of this expansiveness without limit, this cannot be contained in a barrier or in a limitation that the body represents. Rather, I felt when everyone was there from universes and universes and universes, that the more I was connected, it was like a chorus, an epiphany of relation of music. The more I was connected and sharing, the more there was this oneness, but I still felt and individuated in a sense. The more I was connected, the more I had a sense of me in that respect. But we were one. We're all one. And that is what I feel. We all are one, and we are all trying to remember this. Then I was in this joy and this glory where you just know everything, and you feel the love of the Creator. And anyway, all of a sudden, it was like universe upon universe. I was aware of universe upon universe. I mean, like every blade of grass, every tree, every rock, or every dimension of universe, I was aware of it. It was like multi-dimensional.
Wow.
I don't know. I was aware of it, and you know what? It was limitless. It was limitless. It was limitless. And so when I had that profound realization, it's limitless, all that we are. It's limitless, all that we're connected to. Because we are one with the Creator. We cannot be separate. All that the Creator is, we are one with the Creator. and we are beings of love. So it was limitless, my awareness of all these dimensions, all these universes and universes. And when I had that aha moment, then I kind of came back. I felt like I was going to sleep again, literally. I felt like I was going to sleep. But before, I forgot to mention something. When I woke up, that I told you that I woke up, I was standing there looking around, looking at the tree, looking around me, but I could see that was not me. I could see it as a projection. In other words, that for me, the experience I had, and that's why I like A Course in Miracles, for me, it was a projection. I understood totally at that moment. It was like a projection, like when you go to the movies and they're playing and they're going to, you go in there early and then they're going to start the movie and you see that, you hear that tick, 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 and then you see the light come in and it's projecting onto the screen.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I saw myself. I was moving around, I was smiling, I was standing there, and but I knew that was just a projection. So, wow. This experience said, okay, so who am I really? It's where I am now, and to re-identify with that. So anyway, when I came back and I felt like I was going back to sleep, then I was in an awareness of my physicality of my body. And let me tell you something. This is another thing. I thought when I was in the plane of eternity that I was gone for millions and millions and millions of years, for an eternity. And when I came back, it felt like it was a nanosecond.
Wow.
A nanosecond, not even a whole second. So it's like that experience. So time, I know, is illusionary, even though we're in this realm of time, and of course we're obeying the laws of time. But so that was the experience that has really stayed with me, because I felt the love of the Creator. And of course, with the difficult childhood and understanding of that, and understanding the lessons that I came to learn or let go of ideas, that's the way that I see it, of beliefs, in order for me to remain and to stay in the awareness of my true being of self. And I feel that being, that joy, that peace that I had is what everyone is. Absolutely everyone. The Creator has no favorites, but people are awakening at different levels, even though I believe in my belief system that only what the Creator made is real, and so this plane where there's pain and suffering is illusionary. That doesn't mean that we do not honor and we do not heal and we do not do the things that we came to do in this world. But it doesn't have any foundation, because we are as what we were created, and that's how it is for me.
Wow. I'm curious, whenever you had that experience, could you remember, your family? Could you remember, your life that you just left? Or does that memory go away?
Well, I was in the universe. In other words, we are all a family already. The other things in my experience, and it's like a role that we're all playing. We're like these beings of tremendous power, unlimited in understanding and joy and creative potential and creative ability, in balance, in goodness, in kindness. And we forgot. We forgot that because we're playing a game. And if I may, there's, the old Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll give you.
I used to watch that when I was little.
You watch what? It's pretty amazing. There is one story there that I think it's kind of explained. It was a historical episode, it was a historical episode because it was the first time that a black woman and a white man, Lieutenant Hoover and Captain Kirk, kissed. And it had that was the first time that was ever two races kissed on television.
Wow.
But what happened was that, Captain Kirk and all of them, they wound up in the spaceship, and all of a sudden they wind up in this planet, and there's a being there who looks like a Bonaparte, and who's kind of mischievous and actually almost diabolical, and he's having them go through all these experiences. So in one of them, he is like Bonaparte, and so then all of a sudden they're going to go somewhere. Then the other one, he's like Caesar. Like, in other words, whole crew finds themselves in different roles and playing in different time eras.
Wow.
And each one is one that is really difficult. And so that's where they're saying, what are we going to do to get out of this? Everyone is like beside themselves. And so at one point, that's when he has Captain Kirk and Lieutenant Uhura come together, and she goes, "I'm sorry, Captain Kirk. I'm sorry. I don't know." He goes, "I'm sorry. It's okay." And then they kiss. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. So then, as all this is going on, and this little guy is going, you hear a voice from the universe. You hear a voice from the universe, and it says, Son, where are you? And it's this beams of light. And it says, "Come, we're looking for you." And so he goes, "Oh, Mom, no," or whatever he said, "No." And then he has to come because he has to start playing.
Oh, wow.
And then they go to Captain Kirk and everyone, "Please forgive him. Please forgive him. He is only a child."
Wow.
So I thought that was pretty profound, and many times I use that as a metaphor for, in a way, because people say, well, why are we here? Why are we suffering?
Yeah.
And in a sense, we don't remember that we made a decision to forget who we are.
Wow.
And that's what I believe, because who we are that is unchanging, unchangeable, and forever cannot be changed. Who we are.
That's amazing.
Wonderful and pure and whole. And so, in a sense, there's an innocence and in the ignorance. There's an innocence in the ignorance, and that's where we all are. And so, when you had said to write the bio, a little thing, and I said forgiveness is the key. So we forgive that ignorance. We forgive that ignorance of the innocence, not forgetting that power. Now we appreciate that power. And now I said, boy, I had that power, and now, now I'm making a living. I want to make sure I pay my rent, that I can pay the cost, that I can feed my companion kitties,
Yeah.
So.
Well, man, gosh, that's probably, I'm assuming, going to bring so many people comfort knowing all of this. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like whenever you and I have had, I've heard this, some of this story before, and it touched me, and correct, and maybe I'm wrong, but I could have swore that you mentioned that, and maybe you were saying there wasn't. So again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that you had said that there is like a hell type realm. Is that true, or do I have that completely wrong? Is there a darker realm?
This is what I believe, and just because I'm an avid researcher, and an avid researcher for people who have had near-death experiences. In the realm of truth and light, there is no such a thing as hell. However, what happens is that when people leave this realm, they have certain beliefs that they have become attached to and identified to. So you kind of go into the realm of that consciousness.
So thoughts are things.
but it's not a realm that exists. It's not God who made that. We're not meant to suffer. So you hear, I've read this man called Brian Longhurst, who for years he's talked with Jesus, and he goes to different realms, and they go to save people, and it talks about Jesus going to people who in their consciousness, because of what they have identified with the guilt.
Man.
And the belief in punishment, create a realm like this for themselves. In other words, the Creator has nothing to do with that.
This makes sense to me.
Mm.
I mean, yeah. I am such a powerful manifester just using affirmations in my life and saying like, I am yada yada yada, and so it is. And so like it makes sense that, and you can also attract what you fear if like you have that much focus and energy on it, you know? So it totally makes sense that you could manifest that for yourself. All right, so everyone right now, stop those beliefs. Like, wow.
Real quick question. Maybe I missed this. Your second near-death experience, what caused it?
It wasn't a near-death experience.
Oh.
I had a near-death experience with my appendix. The other one is I wanted to be holy. Now, I don't mean that in a like, oh, I want to be holy, but because of what I had gone, I thought, oh, maybe I'll be a monk, or maybe, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It sounds very similar to
some psych. Find the holiness. I said, okay. And so as I was standing in front of this tree, I had the experience. But the experience is that we are holy. And that's what I'm learning, and that's why I love the Course in Miracles, because it's really about self-love and saying we are holy. That's what we have to claim.
Yes.
We have to claim our sinlessness and our innocence, and know that the other thing is an insane belief and idea. Being beings of consciousness, our thoughts create things, and that's what we are learning. That, boy, we better be careful what ideas we're identifying with.
Wow.
But the good news is that only what the Creator made is real.
Mm.
Wow.
I love that.
Everything else is not.
That's amazing.
But we have to hold that.
Yeah.
We have to hold that. Yeah.
So were you after that incredible, profound experience, were you opened up more to your spiritual gifts?
Everyone has spiritual gifts. The spiritual gifts is through our own healing. That's what I find, and that's what I'm finding now as I've come to terms to understand and to be more in the love and the forgiveness and the understanding and letting go of resentments and angers. Every moment, it's a continual practice, because the price for liberation is constant vigilance. It's a vigilance to be happy, a vigilance to claim one's joy, a vigilance to entertain light, the opposite of what the world says. That is what's going to get us into the awareness of where we really are and never could have left. And did I answer your question?
Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you.
And I'm curious, like, I know you used to go to church. If you are still going in the Austin area, where are you going that resonates with this belief system?
Well, that's my own teaching, my own study. When I do A Course in Miracles, it's a self-study discovery. It's a practice. It's not it's a practice, and it coincides with my belief, my experience that I had, the profound experience that I had. And I did go to Unity Church, and I was a prayer chaplain there for 6 years. And when I say a prayer chaplain, it's not that you go, oh God, help me, I'm a miserable, sinner. You say, oh God, you are present. You pray with people to claim and to affirm the strength that is in them, the love that surrounds them, the power that they are, And so that was part of my journey and my practice. I'm not going to Unity now, but it has been a wonderful experience for me.
Yeah, we used to go there as well, but you're right. It's a way of life. It's practice, I couldn't agree with you more.
That's awesome. Well, I had a random question for you here, a little off topic, but I've always been really curious about routine. And do you have any personal morning or evening routines, whether that's like daily meditation, prayer, working out? Like, what's your routine look like on a normal day?
Well, yes, I try to do my meditation in the morning to set my consciousness, to set my idea. And sometimes that might be, I might say promises, I might say one word or two, and then I have it. Other times I might have to be in that, work on myself for 2 to 3 hours. And then I'm at the plane where I feel ready.
Wow.
So I try to do that in the morning, and then I do that at night, especially when things come up for healing, which means then we can let go of those limiting ideas. We always have to see the limiting idea so we can let it go and and put our power into a constructive avenue. So I do that. I try to do that every day. And I also try to practice with the course. Do you have a certain thoughts? Like, I am the Holy Child of God. I am the Holy Child of God herself, himself. I changed the course that way. I put she for God, she and he. I do both, mother, father. Even though we're formless, actually. So I guess we have essences of both. But just for here, because I feel it's the time that women are in a place of with that power is going to be balanced between the female and the male, etc. So to me, that's important.
I love that.
And so I try to practice every day, every moment, at least, every hour or every time, or when I see someone. Sometimes I might forget, and then I say, let me put my consciousness on this truth so it can lead me through. And so I do that. Then I love to work out.
Nice.
I love to do weights. It really balances me, and I just feel happy. I might be tired going there. When I've done my workout, I'm like, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. So, yes. And I love to go in nature and do hikes and things like that. So that's very important to me.
That's awesome. That answers everything perfectly. One of my last questions here, in regards to plants, we've had such incredible experiences with healing and Megan plants. Do you feel like plants are here for our healing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you see, everyone's heading in the same direction, but there are different ways that people are reached. And so for plants, it has been instrumental to help you. They're helpers. They're helpers.
Yeah.
They're helpers, and they helped you, and they helped beautiful Megan. So absolutely, that is right there the answer.
Oh, I love that. Well, before we close out, how can people reach you? What kind of people are you looking for right now in your practice, and how can they reach you?
Well, let me see. I could. I'm trying to find my phone number. Well, at People's Pharmacy on South Lamar, they can call for me there, and then we can see about maybe setting an appointment there, or if somebody wants a spiritual consultation, something like that.
Absolutely.
What does a spiritual consultation entail exactly? I'm curious because I love the way it sounds.
Yes, but that is a inspirational experience, and I've done them where it's a spiritual consultation. Like a woman came the other day who works with children who've been abused in many ways, and their parents who maybe have cross addictions, whether it's alcohol, drugs, children who are despairing, and she's connected to source and angels and all this, but it still gets to her And I was able to talk to her there, and the words come, and then it helped her to lift her. And so that's how it is. I had one where it was a young lady. Her mom brought her because her and her father, her husband and her were divorcing or were divorced, and then the child was kind of in the middle and feeling a lot of stress and anxiety because she was soaking up that energy. And so the mother wanted me to consult with the daughter, but the daughter was already she knew about, spiritual things a little bit. She's a teenager. What a beautiful girl. Boy, she just lifted right up. And when I said the things, words of truth, because truth resonates.
Yep.
I'm not convincing anybody. I'm not trying to change what you believe. I pray to tune in to spirit, to the Creator, to say the voice of truth that resonates within each individual, because the truth is in each individual, and to spark that light. I always considered myself like that, like a catalyst. Really, the individual has the power. So I'm a catalyst. I've had people, one woman who was almost choked to death, another woman whose daughter was murdered, or maybe a man whose wife was them all of a sudden having an affair, and or it can just be for whatever. Like if somebody feels inclined and that they feel that they can use some encouragement to change their perspective. So that's kind of like what a shaman does.
So it's
the medicine. Yes, a shaman shifts perspective. A person is focused and attached to a certain perspective, and a shaman with different tools can help to shift that. It's like you see the world, but when you get on the monkey bar and you're upside down, doesn't the world look different?
Oh yeah.
You're like, this is exciting. I never saw the world this way.
Well, it's amazing because it sounds like you just really get tapped in and tuned in, and you just allow spirit to channel through you, and so you give whatever message that person needs.
Yes, that's why I say counselor.
That's awesome. I love that. That's
what I can do. Yeah,
I love that.
That's what I love to do. Thank you.
Yeah.
I do love to do that, and
that's awesome. Well, we can tell you're super tuned in. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's right before I ever go out to speak to my employees. I do a little prayer of gratitude and just literally ask spirit to channel through me too, and help this be a conversation that helps them on their journey to a relationship with spirit. I feel like that's what we do. But I love that. Zulma, you've been incredible.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on here.
Thank you.
We always ask one last question before we head off. If you could leave the world with one message, what would it be?
You are the light. You are the light of love.
I love that.
That is your true nature.
That's beautiful. I love it. Thank you so much again for coming on here, Zulma. You've been absolutely amazing. Anyone that wants to get in contact with her, People's Pharmacy, South Lamar, in Austin, but you could also hit us up and we'll be happy to put you in contact with her with an awesome spiritual session.
Yes, thank you so much, Zulma. I'm so glad that you were able to do this.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you both so much. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Happy healing.
Bye-bye.